Here, I'm just gonna go over the usual introduction. This is gonna be a little bit of like refresher for everybody that's already trained with me, but I try to do everything from an underlying sort of principle-based perspective. So every time I teach a seminar, I just go through a quick explanation of base, posture, and structure, and frames and levers, because everything in jiu-jitsu boils down to those things. And these are terms that are used a lot, but they're not always, in my opinion, defined properly. So a lot of people, like when I ask people what base is, they're like, "Oh, I know what base is. It's being hard to move, or it's having good balance, or that kind of stuff." And it's not actually that. Base is a platform from which to apply and absorb force. So if I can't generate force into my opponent, or if I can't absorb force being generated into me, then I'm simply not in base, right? Like a lot of times you can appear to be in base, but not be in base. For instance, somebody's sitting like this, which is called combat base a lot. This is actually really poor base because I don't have the ability to absorb force. If you push me backwards, because I'm covering my rear post, I'm not in base. So a lot of situations where people think they're in base, they're not necessarily in base. Now, I'm in base because if you push me back, I can go forward and backwards. So being in base means having the ability to generate force and absorb force. Posture is correct spinal alignment. Again, most people know that, but the reason it's important is because when your body works in conjunction, when the muscles in your body work in conjunction with one another, you're using what's called the kinetic chain, which allows all your muscles to work together, which makes them more powerful. So anytime your spine gets bent, your muscles get isolated. So if I want to attack your arm, for instance, Garrett, can I wear something? Commonly, you'll see side control. And you're like, all right, I'm going to work on this. If you're like, and it doesn't work simply because his spine is aligned. He's got contact with the ground, so he's got base, and then he's got the last element, which we call structure. Structure is correct limb alignment to maximize the strength of your arms. So even though I'm a fair bit stronger than Gary, there's no way in hell that I'm going to be able to key lock him right now. But if I break his posture a little bit, now I can pin his arm very, very easily. So everything we do is based around the idea that I have to have base, posture, and structure. That's my checklist. Am I in good posture? Yes. Do I have good structure? Yes. Am I in base? Yes. If I have those three things, then I go forward. My opponent has those three things. I need to take one, preferably two, ideally all three away from him or her before I try to attack. So again, a simple example of that, if I can grab you again, is from the guard. If I'm going to try to throw up a triangle, it's just never going to work. And this is one of those things you see, usually in beginner jiu-jitsu classes, you're taught, all right, I'm going to control here, I'm going to push this arm through, I'm going to shoot a triangle. You're never going to catch anybody good with a triangle like that, simply because he has posture, he has structure, and he's in base, he's able to generate and absorb force. So any movement that we make where we're trying to attack, especially submissions, but even other movements, if I don't compromise your posture, your structure, or your base, I'm unlikely to be successful at anything other than the beginner, maybe intermediate level. And our philosophy in my club is from day one, I'm teaching you to beat black belts. So I'm not going to show you something that works at white belt and then something new that works at blue belt and then something new that works at purple belt. It's all designed to work at the highest level from the very beginning. All right? Frames and levers is simply, this is a frame. I can support a ton of weight here like this. This is a lever. My arm does not work very well out here. So you can push on it. That's a force multiplier. Every movement we're making, we're trying to exploit a lever generally offensively, and we're using frames generally defensively, although they're a little bit interchangeable. So everybody's on board with base, posture, structure, what that means, and frames and levers. Good, cool. All right, so the first thing I want to go over, here, we're saying just going back. So we're going to work on passing the guard. When I'm passing the guard, I want to be in good base. Now sometimes that's going to mean 1 foot forward. Sometimes it's going to mean staggered stance. I've got good posture, my hands are up. I've got good structure, my hands are in front of me. So always whenever I approach the guard in any way, whether it's staggered or square, I want to be like this. I don't ever want to approach the guard bent over with my hands out like this. You'd be surprised how common these errors are. People just walking into the guard like that, or walking into the guard in good base and good posture, but with crappy structure where your limbs are all twisted out. So just make sure when we're approaching the guard, our elbows are connected to our thighs or our knees. Our spine is straight, our head is up, and we're able to generate force by pushing off or absorb force by pushing off. So the first exercise we're just going to do is disengaging from some of the common open guards that you'll see. We're not really going to cover the closed guard today. We're going to cover how to pass the guard basically from this position. So we're going to assume that I got tangled up in, you guys play much Del Hiva guard here? Spider, And yeah, whatever open guard you face most often, we're just going to start with that. So we'll go through the two probably most common open guards are the De La Riva guard and the spider guard. So we're just going to work on resetting because I want you to be able to start here every time you pass. So if I work my way all the way into, let's say, the De La Riva guard, yeah, there's methods for trying to pass the De La Riva guard, but the better somebody is, the less they're likely to let you in. So if I can break free, disengage, and get to this style of control, whether it's on the ankles or ankle and knee, or both hands on the knee, that's going to be my best shot at passing the guard. So the first movement we're going to do is from the De La Riva guard, and we're just going to break grips. He's going to be controlling my collar. Notice how as I'm bent over, I'm super tippable. I'm going to make sure I've got my base, my posture's up. I'm going to break, control still, break, kick back, get to here. Good posture, elbows are connected. You can have one hand on the shin, one hand on the ankle, or both hands on the ankle, or both hands on the shins. We're going to work kind of variations as we go. So once again, De La Riva guard. Got my collar. I use my spine, almost like I'm doing a deadlift. I'm coming up and away. A common error here is to try to punch the arm away. I'm not using my arms to break grips. I'm using my core. I'm just locking my hands in place and withdrawing from it. Punching the arm down, using a frame here against a lever, keeping my base, my posture, my structure. Break, kick the hook free, reset to here. So that'll be our first motion. The next motion we'll do will be from the spider guard. This is just a warm-up, guys, so just get a few reps in. As soon as you feel comfortable with it, we'll go to the next thing. Does anyone need to see it again? One more? Okay.